How did you
There we go.
Oh my God, you did! There he is. Yes, sir. Look at
I was
that.
trying to connect to my
Welcome.
other screen. So
Oh man,
yeah,
I don't know if I
there we
should.
go.
Do you want to be in the box, Adam, or do you want to see my great thumbnail that I made there of the American
Nitro,
documentary?
see the
Yep, I
famously
got
not in the
Nitro, Zap,
documentary.
Malibu, Thunder, of course, on the motorcycle back when he could. Well, that was probably a prelude of things to come for Thunder not being able to walk, because we saw it in the
Unfortunately,
documentary.
yeah.
Well, welcome. Glad I got everything worked out. Glad I can get you
Thanks
here.
for having me.
Yep, just in time. The Degenerates are here. They're excited for this. I've had you on. Obviously, I was telling the story of off screen. Adam Ridley, you do great work. You did a documentary for 30 for 30 with for the American Gladiators. Before you were on Last Chance U, and I had you coming in my old show visitors locker room. You did a full hour on the great scumbag coach. I love scumbags. I'm like, that's what kind of. I'll have my first ever guest be Ridley to talk about, because this scumbag Johnny Ferraro is just one of a kind. One of those old,
I'm the scumbag
old
whisperer.
school. Yeah, you are a scumbag whisperer. And then you did this great show. You told us all these amazing stories. And then Netflix is like, yeah, no, you can't tell them any of that.
Yeah.
And we had to scrap the whole interview. And luckily, you told me this time, this is produced by Vice News, so who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're bankrupt as it is. They just got bailed out. Who cares? Fucking everything to the wall. I love it.
That's great.
So how'd you get connected with this? Did you know Ben Berman, or
I did? Yeah, we've been friends
Okay.
for a long time. He actually made the Amazing Jonathan documentary, and I helped out
which is
on
great.
that.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did? That's great.
Yeah.
That's one where there's like three of them going on at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
That thing was amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I think actually there ended up being 4 that he cut out. That's a crazy project. So we became friends on that, and just friends of friends. And then he was looking for editors, and so I came in and sort of helped out for a few months on this to kind of bring it home, because if your viewers have seen it, and I know you've watched it, it's a pretty ambitious thing. It's not a straight documentary about the American Gladiators, so it took some time to make.
No, it's not. And I imagine, even though I've never made a documentary like this, but I am an expert in things that I have no experience in. Do you, I imagine, like, you don't want to go in with an agenda when you do a documentary. You kind of let the story goes where it takes you, kind of a situation. Like, a little bit what you want to do.
Yeah, you would hope. I mean, like, that's like the political answer you say, but sometimes, I mean, everyone has an agenda with anything. I won't put Ben's words in his mouth, but basically the how it went is that Johnny Ferraro pitched, doing a story to Vice, and Vice is great. They got Ben involved, and then you still have to sell it to someone, so they ended up selling it to ESPN. But by doing that, you make a sizzle reel. So he did an interview with Malibu. He did an interview with Gemini, and then finally did an interview with Johnny. And right away, he met this guy, and he's like, "Okay, what's going on here?" So I think the agenda presented itself.
I got you. That's perfect. Now Johnny tried to control the narrative. The entire time. He was
famously
hilarious.
Yeah. His line is like, "Are you going to tell my story? Are you going to tell the right story?"
The right story.
Yeah.
He's one of those old scumbag, like old-fashioned scumbags. We were talking about this before, like that you just don't, that you can see how they're charming if you have zero follow-up questions to them. Like if you just because like he says the thing like, "Yeah, that one part's hilarious," where he's just like, "Yeah, you know what this is? This is an American story about 2 guys from Erie who, just had a little dream, and we created this thing, how television's changed forever." And then Ben's like, "Yeah, okay, but there's not 2 guys here. There's one guy. Where's the other guy? Oh,
who you won't let us interview." Yeah.
Right. Oh, I legally bought the rights to his life.
Yeah, exactly.
What? I couldn't even believe you could do such a thing. That's amazing. Now I'm just asking people on the street if I could buy their life rights. So I just don't want you ever talking about your life.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. No follow-up questions.
No follow-up questions. And the whole documentary itself is a king of, which I think you guys were making fun of, which knowing the comedy element of Ben and you guys. You probably were, where like, because he's the king of like, I love that thing with the documentaries now where the interview guy comes into to a chair in an empty room, like walking in, filming all that, sitting down, okay, is this happening? Is this really gonna happen? And then like, boom, oh man, can't believe he does that for like every scene, and then it's like a fake background in a motel room, fucking hilarious. For Johnny. Did you have any interactions with Johnny yourself?
No. As an editor,
you came
I
in post afterwards.
But I actually, the most interaction I have is throughout the documentary. You could hear phone call voicemail from Johnny. So like the opening scene is like him walking around Venice Beach, stop, and he's like, "I'm not gonna walk around Venice Beach," So I was involved in a few phone calls with him, but personally, I didn't interact with him. No.
That's still pretty great, though.
Oh, it's the best, yeah, because you can. I mean, that's why I've directed stuff before, and it's just so exhausting because you're managing a personality with just somebody like Johnny. So like he's getting phone calls. Ben was getting phone calls every week. Like you need to interview this person because he's going to tell the great stuff. You're gonna, of course, that person is like his buddy from Erie that had nothing to do with the show. Who ended up being great characters. So maybe they're right, but.
It reminded me of like when like a murder suspect wants to tell you who the cops should be investigating. I mean, like
exactly, yeah.
The boyfriend. I heard she had an ex-boyfriend she wasn't too fond of. And like, some of those calls are great too. I heard you're going to interview Dallas. She knows nothing about. You don't want nothing but bitching and complaining between Nitro and those guys.
Exactly.
Last thing you want is a bunch of negative energy with this show.
Yeah. The last thing you want is drama in your story. I don't know why you want
that. So talk about that if you can, because half the gladiators hate this guy Johnny. They wouldn't talk to you, or they probably legally couldn't, or whatever.
Yeah, it's like they were sort of involved at first, like during that, like I was saying, that initial pitching stage. Like we interviewed Ice.
Oh,
Lori, and so we interviewed these people to like sell the project. And I think once they started like talking amongst themselves, because I'm sure they're all on like group text chain, former gladiators. I don't know how that works, but they were like, "Oh, we should, like this is history's repeating itself. Why would we get involved with Johnny again? Let's try to tell our own story." So, not to plug another documentary, they're actually making another American Gladiators documentary. Those guys like Nitro, Ice, what Jazz, all the other people,
all that we Jazz all remember. Is that what's going to So they're going to tell the real story.
Yeah. But like, to be honest, you watched.
Sorry,
it, like,
Nitro. I got my I got my fill. Do you have an Elvis impersonator scumbag who stole all money from everybody? No, thank you. Then.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like the documentary is better because these people aren't in it. Unfortunately,
it added intrigue for sure.
Exactly.
Are they dead? Or do they just have a grief with them? A beef with these guys.
One really interesting thing that we did that we ended up cutting out is that Ben cast a bunch of bodybuilders and interviewed them like they were the other gladiators. So he took Nitro wrote a book. He took Nitro's lines and had an actor playing. He wasn't playing Nitro. He was playing like Chainsaw. And there's a guy named John Anderson who's in the documentary who's just called a bodybuilding expert. You're like, who's this guy? But he was a fake gladiator.
Wait a minute. You're not talking about Jamie Chaos Lewis, the strength historian, are you?
No. He's great.
Okay.
This is the guy. I think his name is John Anderson.
Okay.
So anyway, long story short, so part of the reveal,
by the way, is a great gladiator name.
Like, half the fun was coming up with fake gladiator names. Like, if they didn't use it in Running Man, we could probably use it here. I don't know. And so we had these characters that as a viewer, you don't remember the gladiators, so you don't know who these people are. And then, part of the first episode, there's a reveal that there was like replacement gladiators that they end up using.
Yes.
That was a much bigger storyline because it sort of fed into the thing about how Johnny was like kind of a ruthless businessman. This is what to say, we had like a reveal that there ended up being these fake gladiators, and that led to the, us revealing that we didn't have Nitro and all those people. So it was like a fun, like stylistic choice that we ended up cutting out. But
yeah, I thought
you know,
that would have been fun. There was that strike element too, when the Gladiators strike to go against Johnny, because he's not getting all the money. Then
yeah,
you had the alternative Gladiators, the scrubs, if you will.
exactly.
If they crossed the picket line, then the real Gladiators tried to stop them. Then they fought like in competition style.
They're in like the spheres, the whatever.
Yeah. Have to go through Powerball or the gauntlet to fucking cross the line to make that 10K. Talk about that strength historian, by the way. What an incredible job title. Strength historian, Jamie Chaos Lewis, who's just breaking down the history of people get fitness. Which he's like, because he had an amazing line, like, there was all this fitness in the 90s. They didn't know what to do with it, So we might as well shoot tennis balls at each other.
That's a great point to think about, like the concept of like using muscles for athletic achievement. I hadn't been thought of till then.
We got all this muscle lying around.
Yeah. Just bash them into each other. Come on, what else are they doing? I know, football.
Right, exactly. Bouncer, anything that doesn't make you $12,000 where you have to patch up your own broken bones without fucking Larry Zonka in your face.
Oh man,
where did you find that guy? Where did they find a guy? Anyone? That's
they did that before. I think he was referenced in an article about stuff. It's really funny. Like back to what you're saying about agenda. Like they were just Ben and his team and Kirk, who's the co-director, were like just throwing everything at the wall. So there is actually an interview that I don't think made the cut with Peter Bogdanovich.
Okay, no.
The film director. And because it was about nostalgia and like stories and stuff like that. So like this is all to say, like there's a lot of themes that were being explored that for whatever reason didn't make it, or it did make it. So I think that was sort of what the mindset was for interviewing Jamie.
Yeah, a lot of it did seem like a lot of it was thrown together, which I love. It. Throw everything out there, anything you can, because we're not going back. That's what it seemed like. And Apache Dan, how did that wind up? Where Apache Dan did get to go do the interview? Like, because at first Johnny had the rights to him. He legally wouldn't let him in the documentary, and then did Johnny literally forgive him? Is that what happened after that news?
Yeah, I mean that literally. I think
Ben went on the news.
Exactly. It became such like a story that I think Johnny realized.
Yeah, he's gonna look bad at this.
Like all these guys, like they don't realize, they don't quite have the self-awareness that you sort of need to maybe be a good person. So I think that's what he felt the pressure. And I'm sure some money was exchanged. I don't know the details, but I mean, come on,
of course. That first buyout of $500 in a room at the Imperial Palace. Jesus, that sounds like
exactly.
Sounds like something you give your kid as you go down and do a hooker or something. But it was definitely funny for sure. Like and that director too, Bob Levy, that was a hilarious line too.
Oh,
and Ben,
he's the best.
He was so funny. And then when Ben says that like off camera, you're obviously Jewish, right? He's like, oh yeah.
We had an employee screening, or like a friends and family screening, and Bob Levy showed up and he was wearing that same outfit.
Like fuck yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was a great time.
There's a lot of funny
those porn collection.
Who, Bob Levy?
He would have like I don't think this made the cut either, but like he would have stories where he would just have like parties where they would just sit, because he made tons of money, because he was also, like back when you would do syndicated television, you just make tons of money.
Right.
And so he would have this huge house and just throw parties where they just watch porn and like hang out and drink.
Good Lord, what an amazing party that must be, though.
Oh my God! I mean, just doing blow with nitro, watching Jenna Jameson.
Now I know why there were two sirens that were both in Playboy. I did my research. I was amazed how many of these gladiators were still alive, to be honest with you, because they all had hard knock lives, Even the success stories I was saying, like Malibu, that was hilarious part. I was like, keep it down, my roommate's back here. Your roommate? Yeah. Oh boy.
Exactly.
I mean, God bless him.
Not a lot of money in Mortal Kombat sequels, apparently. But he has a happy ending. He found a woman.
No, he does have a very happy ending. He found a beautiful wife. Beautiful wife that doesn't speak English. That was great. Amazing for Malibu. Hey, I'm rooting for him, and that was also one of the biggest surprises. Like after the show went off the air, did you guys know about this going into that dinner theater in Orlando? That was
Oh no! When we found out about that with like aliens, oh my god! And then when we found the footage of that, like our minds were blown. That was huge. That was so great about the story. It's like all like Dan Carr wrote a book we had no idea about. You know, like all these things that kind of we discovered through the course of it. But yeah, that dinner theater. Oh my gosh. Incredible. Yeah.
Dan Carr, Apache Dan, the greatest writer that sports writer from Erie, Pennsylvania has ever read, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. This book. All right.
Yeah.
The arm wrestler you're talking about? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Orlando dinner theater, they're singing. It was just it was fucking amazing. Like I can't believe it, and I love his strategy. Like, yeah, I wanted to go to Disney where there's mice, and I wanted real humans. Really, you want to go to the one place where they have easy entertainment kind of monopolized?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
go to Iowa, go anywhere. He goes to Orlando.
I mean, that's the best thing about Johnny is that American Gladiators works so well because of how quote unquote simple it is. Meaning, you don't need aliens in it. Like, why? He was just trying to gussy up this, like, he was trying to brand dog food. He was trying to make a movie that, like all these things. Like, what are you doing? You don't know you have.
I know, right? Yeah, he does. That comes in the documentary. He's just plugging all these things. Everyone's like, what? Why? That doesn't even make any fucking sense. It's a brand. Yeah, it's a brand. It doesn't mean just slap it on a table or like any object. Oh man, he was just so funny, and I tell you, the most overall thing I got out, besides Johnny being a scumbag, is how easy it is to manipulate these meatheads. Too, by the way, like it's like they almost forget mid-interview. Like Gemini's like, "Hey, you didn't talk to Nitro? How come you didn't talk to Nitro? Oh wait, no, I know, I remember why. That's right. He got totally fucked and he hates him. That's right. Okay, now it's making sense."
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, we were exploited for years.
Yeah, right. That's right.
And it pumping our veins full of drugs that are now with
it destroyed our lives, and half of us are dead. That's right. Okay, all right. Now I got you.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, Adam, I know you got to go pick a buddy up at the airport. One of the most saintly things you could do in Los Angeles.
I should have made up something else. Like I don't know. I have a meeting at Spago with
right. I mean, you might as well say you're going to the homeless shelter to help feed. Like hand out turkeys or something. That actually would be less noble in Los Angeles than picking someone up at LAX. No, it's beautiful. Thank you for coming on, Adam. The good Ridley, as we have Bill Cruz is saying right here. Good to see you.
Wait, who said that? Sorry.
Bill Cruz just commented in there. Yeah. Let me put it up on the screen. He says, good to see you. I added the good Ridley. That's why I promoted.
Okay. Well, there's good in there. That's what.
That's how I promoted this in our text thread, in our Chicago Comic Fantasy Football League thread. I go, I'll have the good Ridley on today. And I texted your brother Ryan, by the way. Shout out to Ryan, and so I told him that you're going to be on. He's like, "Yeah, I heard, I know." And he was not excited to support the family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Still doesn't. Anytime I bring up Renfield, he goes into a depression for 5 minutes. So anyway. I don't know why.
But hey, it's streaming on Peacock, so everyone.
I love Renfield, dude. We saw it in theater. We loved it. We were part of that opening box office.
Yeah, I said you guys were the ones that went that weekend.
Well, they went up against Italian plumbers. Not easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right,
and John Wick else? Apparently.
Yeah, John Wick as well. I was just going to say, is there anything you want to plug? Any upcoming projects or anything like that?
No. I mean, my brother and I are working on something, but that won't come out for a year. And I don't know. You can have me back on. We can talk about that. We'll try to make it sports related somehow.
You don't have to make it sports related. If I have you on together fighting each other, that'd be great. That'd be perfect.
Oh, there you go.
All right, Adam. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. First ever guest in the box, Adam Ridley.
It's a pleasure. I'm honored.
Yes. All right. Now get out of there. There it was. Look at that.